Hi, today we're going to be installing the Majestic Arms Speed Strip Kit in a Ruger Mark III pistol. Now this pistol is the steel frame version. The 2245 with the plastic frame has got a few little differences, but the process is generally going to be the same. First of all, let me state that there are two kits available for the Mark III. One is called the Mark III Speed Strip Kit, and then there's another kit called the 3.2 kit, and that's the one you need to get all the benefits of this, which are the easy bolt removal, the better trigger pull, and the elimination of the magazine interlock. You really need the 3.2 kit. The Mark III kit won't do all of that. So we're going to go through this step by step, and hopefully it'll work very well. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start by making sure the gun is empty, removing the magazine, but this is a Mark III, so we're going to need this to get it apart. First thing I'll do is take a 3/32 Allen wrench and remove the grips. And I find a thing they have real handy is one of these little magnetic trays that keeps you from losing parts that are somehow pretty difficult to replace if you can't find the original ones. While we're doing this, a reminder to everybody, you really need the Ruger's owner's manual if you haven't done this dozens of times, because you're constantly putting in or taking out the magazine to make sure the trigger and the hammer is in the right location. So right now the next step is to dry fire this, and you need the magazine in at this point in time to do that, and you need something to pull this latch here in the back. You may also notice some of the masking tape here. I've done that previously to help hold some of the pins in. This pin holds the sear, which sometimes will fall out if you're handling the gun a fair amount. Take the magazine out now and drop this down. Comes in handy sometime to have a little hammer and a punch handy, and I've got a plastic one here which might work. Now that's not working very well, so I'm going to go to a brass punch. Oops. There we go. Alright, we got that out. So we'll just set this aside for right now. Now at this point in time, the hammer is forward. If I tilt it up and put the magazine in and pull the trigger, the hammer and the bolt will come out. That's a pretty nice deal. Alright. Oops. There we go. Okay, now another trick. Looking for my caliper here. This is a piece of information that's going to be real important to know. You can see this, the back of this, there's an offset between the frame and the back of the barrel. And that particular position is the position that allows this to go through. And this is one of the tricks. You can see if you can put this pin through from the top, it'll go in through the bottom. So it'd be nice to know what this dimension is at the bottom here. So I stick the caliper on there in the center, run it down, and I'm reading about 57 thousandths. Check it again a few times, and I got about 60. You really need to take several measurements because, okay, 55 thousandths. This is going to vary a little bit because the back of this is the back of the barrel is a machine part, so that's pretty consistent. But the back of this frame is a sheet metal part that's been welded together and ground down. So there's going to be variations even from point A to point B. So you need to get a good idea what that is, so when it goes back together you can get it in the approximate right location, because you're really lining up 3 holes. There are 2 holes in the barrel and there's 1 hole in the frame, and all 3 of those holes have to line up for this pin to go in. So it's very important to know what that is. So I just got between 55 and 60 thousandths. I'm going to write that down, and as long as I keep this gun, that's going to be an important dimension to know. Okay, now we got it stripped to this point. Now we have to slide the barrel off the frame, and so the barrel has to go that way forward. So you can put it on a block, and you got to ditch this little wimpy hammer that we had last time and get a serious hammer. Plastic or leather is good. I like to hold it this way on a block so you don't damage the back of that, and give it a couple good wraps that way. And if it's a new gun, it's going to be more difficult. If it's an older gun, it'll come apart a little bit, but this is a good time to take everything and clean it. And really at this point in time you're done with the barrel for a while, so you can set that aside. So now we're down to the basic frame, and this is where the nitty-gritty is going to get kind of interesting, and taking all this stuff apart. Okay, now we're going to start taking this apart. Here's the hammer. This is the interlock mechanism. You can see it right there. And as you put the magazine in, right now you can't pull the trigger with the magazine in. That picks up that lever and now allows you to pull the trigger. So now all of that is going to go away pretty soon. So we drop the magazine back out, and the main pin that holds in the hammer, the safety and all that is this top pin. So you need a punch or something to push that out. And it's always a good idea to use brass on steel. This one, just in handling it, has came out a little bit already. So I'm going to push that out. Here comes the bolt catch. And as I pull this out, the whole hammer neck mechanism is going to come out. Now you might take note of how all this looks. In fact, it'd be a good idea to take a picture of it. In fact, this one I previously marked with an R for Ruger, or the original part. So before you go any further, take a picture of that in case you ever want to put it back that way, and then you'll have a good idea of what it looks like. But now we're going to take this away. This is the part that is the magazine inner lock. There's a spring on it. We're really not going to use that, so I'm just going to set that aside. Now in here we also have the safety. It's going to be a little bit hard to see, Maybe I can get some light in there. You can see it out here. The safety's on the fire position, and the sear, which is that silver looking thing, is in the up position. We're going to have to eventually get that to the down position, and if we can do that right now, just reach in with my finger, push it down, push the safety up, and it didn't quite catch. That's because the top, yep. Okay, this is a good opportunity to show everybody how the safety works. The safety has got this little tiny pin that goes in a spring right there. There's a spring, and there's a little plunger on top of it, and it's really hard to work if it comes out. Now there's a little trick that I have for getting this thing in. The tendency is to want to fish this into the frame, but you're fighting gravity. So what I do is hold this vertical so that pin's sitting on top and work the frame around it. In other words, put the safety in the way it wants to go, turn it, until it's in the proper location, and you can temporarily put this pin in, or another pin, something like a punch here, that will help maintain the pivot. So now that's in there. So the trick at this point in time is not to push on that safety, because any inward force will knock that loose. So you want to have the safety in the fire position. You want to move that sear down, and then the safety up without pushing it in. Like I said, it's tricky, and that will hold the sear in its proper open position. So just keep it in that position for right now.